Representative Candelaria, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise in support of this bill because this bill not only protects the citizens of Connecticut, but it also protects the police officers. I commend our men and women who decided to become police officers. To make that decision, it must be a difficult one, especially in these times. Many of our police officers are a critical part of our community. They are an intricate part of our community. And some uphold the law, but there's others that believe they are above the law. So as I see my colleague from New Haven ask about Section 2, which talks about no police officer should use deadly force upon another person in a motor vehicle, that reminds me of Malik Jones. Malik Jones was an individual that was in East Haven and was going through a police chase that landed into New Haven, specifically the Fairhaven section of New Haven. As he was backing his vehicle, the police officer got off the vehicle and shot 4 times and killed Malik Jones. That was 20 years ago. Today, Malik would have been 41 years old, probably with a family, being a productive citizen of the city of New Haven. But unfortunately, that did not happen. There was another instance in New Haven where a young lady was having a beef, as we call it in the neighborhood, with another 18-year-old, an 18-year-old and a 15-year-old. The 15-year-old was maced in the face, walks outside, the police is questioning her, but she is not thinking, right? She has mace in her eyes. Because she didn't respond, she was body slammed into the pavement. So imagine your 15-year-old being body slammed into the pavement, the hurt and the suffering. If that's not excessive force, I don't know what is. But these are some of the stories that we see in our neighborhoods. These are realities. You know, as I think about Malik Jones, if Section 2 would have been implemented back in 1997, he would be here with us today. He would not have been another statistic. I thought that that would change our state, that that would change our country. But then we have Ferguson. We have not learned. And not all officers are bad officers. They're great. They do great work for our community, and I respect that. I respect all those individuals. But let's take a little bit step forward. Let's think about East Haven. As you recall, police officers in East Haven, there's this group that were called the Miller Boys. They worked the 4 to 12 midnight shift. And what they would do, they would stop and detain Hispanic immigrants. Many of them were slapped, kicked, punched. One of them had their head bashed against the wall. And this was reported in one of the police reports that was done. Now, imagine living in a community like that and being Latino. That must be very frightening. Very frightening to see a police officer drive by you, being harassed. They even took it a step further. They would go into the stores, harass the Latino merchants. And this was taken by their security cameras. And what they would do, they would go back and ensure there was no footage condemning them of their actions. And these are the individuals we needed to trust. Thank God for the intervention of the Justice Department. 4 of those officers were arrested. But that's a true story. Sometimes we cannot connect to what's happening in our neighborhoods. But we need to tell these stories so you can come to the realization that this is happening. This is something serious in our neighborhoods. When we talk about public safety, it's to protect our safety. And in these stories, these officers failed to do that. They failed to protect the individual and protect the public safety. So, a community that looks like me and many of my colleagues, there is a sense of frustration that these incidents continue to happen. And it will be an amendment like this that becomes the bill that will change our perception, that will change the way we think, and that will change the public safety of everyone. Mr. Speaker, with that, I stand in support of this bill. I encourage my colleagues to support it. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, sir. Will you remark further on the amendment before us?